In 30 minutes, broadcasting's finest duo will hit the airwaves. And prepare for the incomparable Opie and Anthony Show. Only a show this big could have a pre-show this good. Welcome to the Opie and Anthony pre-show with Sam Roberts.
Good morning. Welcome to the Opie and Anthony pre-show. My name is Sam Roberts here, counting down the minutes before the Opie and Anthony show begins. 866-WOW-1-WOW is the phone number to call. 866-969-1969 to start this pre-show off right. Breaking down everything that's going to go down today, everything that went down yesterday, and everything that's good in the world of the Opie and Anthony show. Because let's be honest, a lot of radio shows are just that. They're shows. But this here Opie and Anthony show is a world into and of itself. A lot of stuff went down yesterday. Of course, today is only going to be better than yesterday because that's how we do on the Opie and Anthony show. We just keep moving. Jeff Dunham's going to be in studio a little while later this morning. And a Jeff Dunham appearance on the Opie and Anthony show is different than any other radio show. I mean, you can think what you want about Jeff Dunham, but we get the real... He's a real dude when he comes on the Opie and Anthony show. He's never broken out one of the puppets, and he just talks about his life, and that's something you don't really get to hear about in terms of Jeff Dunham. You don't get to hear him on stage talking about that stuff, so he's always a great guest. He will be in studio in a little bit, but yesterday was heavy as far as guests go on the Opie and Anthony show, and great guests did we have. Of course, and it was a lot of sort of full circle type guests. You know what I mean? It was guests that were impactful to this Opie and Anthony show. I would be remiss to not start by mentioning Mr. Bobby Moynihan. Of course, Bobby Moynihan of SNL. It was we've had a history with Bobby, even though he's never been on the Opie and Anthony show before yesterday. Opie and Anthony spent a long time making fun of his drunk uncle character based on the performance at the 12-12-12 concert here in New York that they did for Hurricane Katrina. Obviously, not exactly the best venue for the bit, but Bobby Moynihan went ahead and did it, and he went ahead and caught a beating here on the Opie and Anthony show for it. What did you say? Sandy. What did I say? You said Katrina. Right. Katrina was the one in New Orleans. Hurricane Sandy here in New York. And we gave him a beating, but we later found out after I interviewed him for my show that he heard Opie and Anthony making fun of him because he's a big fan of the show. As always, Opie and Anthony refused to believe that any celebrity is an actual fan of the Opie and Anthony show. So we got the answer straight from Bobby Moynihan on yesterday's show.
Yo.
Bobby Moynihan for the first time on the Opie and Anthony show.
Hi, Bobby.
How are you?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on, man?
Very good, sir.
I got to start with this. Sam keeps saying you're a fan of our show. I don't believe it because we hear it.
I don't believe it.
Because we hear it so many times from people that are, famous or whatever. And then you ask them a few questions and it falls apart and it turns out they're not fans of the show.
Yeah. No, I was. I listened to for...
was?
No, I used to listen to all the time in like the Psycho Mark days. Like that was...
the old NEW.
NEW.
Yeah,
NEW
no, I listened
days.
for many, many years. My first acting job, I got like extra work in some awful Richard Grieco movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was the day you guys did the Voyeur Bus.
Oh, that was a good one. Jimmy got arrested, yeah.
And I sat there,
Jeez.
I think, for 9 hours listening to that, and then they were like, all right, you're ready to go. And I didn't go. Like, I went and hid in the stairwell so I could finish listening to the show.
For the show and
then ended up not being in that movie.
Oh, man.
So
they
thanks,
cut you out.
twice.
That was an
You
amazing.
did get the gig, though.
I was there. I was supposed to be shooting it. It was like one of my first acting jobs.
Wow.
And I just bailed on it
But
because I
that
was listening to
Voyeur
the
Bus
end
was
of the show.
amazing.
Yeah, but that's a real fork of two careers.
Right.
I'm spending the night in jail with Louis Black trying not to shit my pants, and you're on a fucking acting
Right.
job. You definitely won.
My very first one. But I lost it because I just left. I went and hid in the stairwell, listened to the rest of it. and
We
then
made
went
a
home.
lot of mistakes that day. We invited CNN on the bus thinking they would give us a nice positive piece on the whole thing.
Positive piece. What?
So could we get past the awkward part and then we can move on?
You seem so awkward. I wouldn't.
No, we Sam, of course, tells us that you heard us breaking down one of your appearances.
You guys are fucking assholes. I wanted to come tell you to your face. No.
They get so cheeky when confronted. They get bashful, Opie and Anthony. A lot of times when confronted by people who they've made fun of. We got in, of course, to the drunk uncle thing as the Bobby Moynihan appearance continued yesterday.
The night I said I haven't listened to O&A for a while. Let me go on YouTube, see what's going on. One of the first things that comes up is O&A drunk uncle, and I'm like,
what?
What are the chances? And honestly, my first thought was, oh no, do they do something like called drunk uncle? And I hadn't seen it. I got terrified. Listened to it, and then was like, oh no, it's the complete opposite.
Oh no! It was
a tough spot.
Well, yeah, try being there.
Yeah, can you walk us through that? Because there was the 12-12-12 thing, and Seth Meyers brought you out, and that was a really weird place to have this.
I would go as far as saying
contextual bit. It's something that you need to do.
Sitting behind a desk.
Sitting behind the desk with like on the news.
With only your face up close on television.
There you go, right? Exactly.
I will defend ourselves in a little bit, saying we were aware that was a tough spot, but that's not going to stop us from just beating the shit out of somebody.
Oh, I wouldn't,
because we would do the same
other way.
We've done the same thing to ourselves.
I'm familiar. Yeah,
because no one was paying attention.
You jumped on my homeless cake. the homeless cake of my life.
There you go.
I think you're doing just fine there, Bob. You're doing all right, buddy.
See, another show reference. I told them he's a big O&A fan, and I don't blame him, quite frankly. My favorite part of the interview is probably when he went on to actually talk about not so much O&A's criticism of the drunk uncle thing, but how it actually was. The fact that he knew when he was going out on stage that this bit was just not going to work. And the comics that were around him that were at the 12-12-12 benefit also knew. Let's listen to the clip of Chris Rock giving him some advice. That's track 17.
Right before I went on, Chris Rock was like, "Hey man, don't do it." He's like, "Hey, I got an idea. Don't go out there." He was like, "They're gonna tear you apart." He's like, "Is Lauren here? Like, let me talk to Lauren. I'll see if I can get you out of it." And I was like, "This is gonna be the worst." And he's like, "Oh yeah. Yeah, they're gonna hate it." And I was like, it was almost the best thing that could have happened, because 5 seconds before I went out, I literally was like, well, I'm gonna see how fast I can get through this, because they did not want it. And I walked out. Kanye West finished, and I walked out to a sea of people just standing up to go get beers.
Oof.
Most of them going,
no
God. Clue, could have cared less who I was, waiting for Billy Joel to come out, and I just tried to get through it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
If you look in the wide shot, you see me going like this with my finger, hurry it up, make the monitor, make the thing go quicker.
Can I ask you about that too? You had seen the sketch before? Had you done that one before, or how much time did you have to learn it and all that stuff?
We had a day, and like at SNL especially, like a day turns into the 2 hours before you're supposed to do it. So I mean, like, we had a day, and I was like, oh, I've done this a bunch of times on the show. People seem to enjoy it on there.
Sure.
And wrote a bunch of stuff, and then kind of didn't think about it. And then once we got there and started putting the stuff on the teleprompter, I was like, oh, we should have done like half of this. Like this is like.
Oh, couldn't you?
I was taking it like a weekend update thing. I was like 7 pages, a good solid 4.5 minutes.
Wow.
I should have done a minute and a half and stage dived.
Right.
You have to respect the honesty, because I would imagine that would be one of the worst scenarios to ever be in. To realize when you're on the stage, oh no, I've made a horrible, horrible mistake. Let's go to some of the calls. 866-WOW1-WOW here on the Opie and Anthony pre-show. Let's start with Riley in Texas. What's up, Riley?
Hey, man. Heard you on that News 4 podcast. Just want to compliment you on that.
Oh, thank you. That's on the Riotcast Network.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And, hey, when are we going to stop this clip show and get you a real show again?
That power is not in my hands. Maybe you could talk to somebody in Texas, because I don't know who's making the decisions. Thanks, Riley. Ron in Houston.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm in Texas, too. I can assure you nobody is making good decisions in Texas. No, they were talking about yesterday on the show about, like, the best celebrity. I'd have to go with Kevin Pollak.
I mean,
sure.
he probably is in terms of not only the fact that he's been in all these big movies. It was a few years back, but he's been in all these big movies. But he knows everything. He listens to the show every single day.
Yeah, every intricacy he can describe down to a T.
And that's, I mean, he's right. He called in once because he wrote a song in his head about E-Rock. But that's what O&A need to realize. They need to get out of this low self-esteem zone and realize they're VIPs that listen to the show every day. David in Los Angeles.
Hey, Sam.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I was watching Raw last night, and what should I see but a very familiar afro popping out from dead center first row.
Very enthusiastic, huh?
Jesus, man, you got some amazing seats and great connections, huh?
Well, I know people over there. Maybe, but of course I was up all night being enthusiastic over wrestling. Maybe that's why I got my Hurricanes confused this morning.
Probably Josh Matthews, I bet.
Well, you can theorize all you want. I'll never reveal my sources, but of course Hulk Hogan was at Monday Night Raw last night. There's screenshots all over Twitter of me acting like a complete idiot on Raw, but it was a fabulous time. How do you not go to a wrestling show and be that close and just act like a moron? That's the whole point in going. Hulk Hogan was at Raw last night. He was in the ring with Arnold Schwarzenegger. They were beating up The Miz. Arnold and Hulk Hogan were beating up The Miz. It was the most insane thing I'd ever seen. And, of course, during the commercial break, The Miz, after being thrown over the top rope, got up and started screaming at me for not jumping in the ring and helping him. But Hulk Hogan was on the Opie and Anthony show yesterday. And when I talked about things coming full circle, in terms of Hulk Hogan and the Opie and Anthony show, over the past couple years, the one clip that keeps coming up is Opie's favorite clip, and it's Hulk Hogan in his boat not being able to pet his dog. It was right when Hogan and his wife were getting divorced, and I guess Hogan's house was on the water, and the little dog was running around in the backyard, and he was barking and barking and barking, but Hulk Hogan could not approach the house in the boat because it was illegal. I don't know, but Hogan was just sitting there with tears in his eyes wanting to pet the dog. And Opie got to finally ask the Hulkster about not getting to pet the dog yesterday on the show.
We know the house from the reality show.
But the one that
Why couldn't you pet the dog? That drove us nuts. When you
On the boat, right? When you're on the boat.
When you're on the boat visiting your old house with Brooke, and it was the tears, and everyone's breaking down. And that
dog's barking,
that poor
like,
little dog. It's like, at least pet the
dog.
Jimmy Hart's laughing. That was a brutal scene,
It
Hulk.
was so intense.
Of course it was.
That was a shoot, though. I mean, that was like, at the time.
Whose idea was it to, go by the ex's house there?
I don't know.
With a boat.
If I had to guess, it was probably the production company because they were always trying to stir it up. I mean, my son would be on the computer doing his homework. They'd go, Nick, go throw balloons at the neighbors. I'm like, Nick's not like that, guys. So maybe, I don't know, but they probably told me to pull in there with a boat.
Yeah. And the dog's just barking, and no one's allowed to touch the dog.
Wow, you guys got a good memory.
Oh, please. We
kind of laughed at that one. I'm not going to lie to you.
Just let him pet the goddamn dog.
Right.
Enough of this.
Wow. Poor Hulk. He's got to relive that. He has been through he's been beaten up physically, but just emotionally. The ringer that guy has gone through is worse than most people I've ever seen go through it. Let's go back to Texas. Everybody in Texas is listening to the pre-show this morning. As we go to Chris. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, Sam?
Good.
Sam, I remember yesterday was like a show about Moynihan's bit. But I remember there was criticism about Moynihan in a bit that he did on SNL with Daniel Craig stealing Jimmy's Chip Chipperson bit. Why was Moynihan ever called out about that yesterday?
Well, I don't think that was his bit. Per se. I mean, he might have been in the skit, but...
Or at least been asked, hey, was that your bit? I mean, wasn't that Opie's original beef with Moynihan is, hey, Jimmy, I was backing you up and I was criticizing him.
Maybe. I think that was an overall SNL beef because Bobby was, I believe, if I remember correctly, there was a skit that SNL did that was very similar to Chip Chipperson, and Daniel Craig, who was the host, was playing the role of the Chip Chipperson type personality. But I think that the thing centered more around Keenan than it did Bobby Moynihan. I mean, the reason they didn't ask him about it, I would assume that they already felt uncomfortable about smashing the drunken uncle thing and being caught, so they didn't want to get in any more trouble.
When has that ever stopped Opie and Anthony, though?
You're right. You're right. But it's, you know what the thing is about Bobby Moynihan is? He's such a nice, endearing guy that when you meet him, there is nothing in you that wants to attack that dude. He just seems like he's having fun. Like, he didn't come in here. This is a guy who's been on SNL for like 7 or 8 years now, I believe. And he didn't come in here like a guy who's been on SNL for 7 or 8 years. He came in here like, oh, man, I've been a fan of the show for so long. This is just like, he was just having a good time. So I think that goes into it, too.
Y'all did great, though. I appreciate the show.
Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you later. Let's go to Joe, all the way in New York. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Sammy, I've been calling you. I still want to get hooked up with Lady Di.
Ah, well, there was so much going on with Lady Di over the last week that we did not get to Joe getting to hook up with her. But we did get to the bottom of the new Lady Di information. By the way, speaking of new information, as I've been saying here on the show, we've been playing radio lately. Before we get to Lady Di, Jim Norton had a plane theory yesterday. We've all been talking about the Malaysian flight. Let's listen to Jim's plane theory. That's track 9 from yesterday's show.
But the fire could have knocked out communications and the transponders.
Yeah, it could have in the avionics bay. And what it turns to a zombie plane is that smoke displaces oxygen. And the pilots usually have quick dining mats in the cockpit, and they usually have 4 to 5 seconds before all that smoke displaces the oxygen. So they could have been knocked out. The avionics bay could have been burnt out, and the plane pretty much does what it wants at that point.
Yeah, I just don't like the term zombie plane.
No, that's kind of silly.
Yeah, I know,
Sounds
it's
cool.
a term, but it basically turns itself into nothing.
That's a
Right.
silly way to put it.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, fellas.
Thank you.
Well, you know,
Keep up your good nature.
everyone's saying that it was already, that the theory was already put out there.
Oh,
I didn't see it. I swear.
2.
No, just in general.
Just swearing?
Just swear in general.
Yes, I think here's what my theory is. The pilot's hat got blown out the window, and the wind stream took it up, and he was flying to get his hat back.
To get his hat.
In a moment of panic, he wanted his hat.
It was just out of reach.
Yeah, because the wind was taking it up.
Yes.
It was a windy day.
It was a weenie. He'd get in trouble for that.
Yes, when it is landed, if you have no hat, the other pilots laugh at you. They're like, oh, you were hatted.
He didn't want that.
Yes, being hatted in the air is a humiliation for pilots.
I'm not 100% sure what the likelihood of that being the cause of the Malaysian flight disappearing is, but there is an update on the story. Still no plane. Every day, especially Opie's been saying, no, they're finding the plane, they're finding the plane. Still no plane, but Malaysian Air did not exactly handle the situation delicately. That's the story that broke overnight, so we'll get into that later today on the Opie and Anthony show. Let's go to Greg in Utah. What's up, Greg?
Sam, so when is Vince going to hire you to start coming out of the audience and just start wrestling or broadcasting for him?
I don't know. You would have to ask Vince.
Well,
but I support it. Go ahead and ask him. I mean, I'm already featured on one of the shows on the WWE Network called Countdown. So if you need to see me there, you can see me there. We were talking with Joe about hooking up with Lady Di and getting the update on Lady Di. As I said, the update on the plane comes today. The update on Lady Di was yesterday, and it was all thanks to our man on the street, the #1 reporter in the world of Opie and Anthony. And that's Bobo. Let's go to the Bobo call, track 3.
Bobo's
I don't feel like
involved
doing the
in
bit
this.
today. I'm just going right for it. Bobo, what?
Yeah,
Bobo.
Unfortunately, Lady
Bobo, what? Bobo. Hello, Bobo.
Lady Di.
Bobo. Hello.
He just plows right
Why
into
doesn't it? Why can't he? Bobo.
Yeah, I'm here, Lady.
Can't Bobo.
He's the worst. Why do we talk to him? He's the worst.
It's terrible.
Bobo.
Yeah.
Can we start with hi? How are you?
Yeah. All right. Well, how are you guys doing?
I go hi, and he goes, Lady Di.
He just plows right
through.
into.
How about we have a little conversation? This is a talk show.
Okay.
All right, I'm hanging up on you until you do this proper. Regroup and calls back.
This is the element of the Opie and Anthony show that not enough people give the show credit for. We are teaching this young man, Bobo, social skills just based on that lesson alone. Listen to the improvement from Bobo when he called back only a few minutes later.
Taking a closer look, but
they don't know if that's the plane.
They're pretty confident. I think this is finally it. Yeah, finally.
They said that?
Yeah. More or less. More or less. Bobo's on the line. Hi, Bobo.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Beautiful.
Very good.
That's all I wanted. I want to feel like I have friends out there.
Like a normal conversation.
Right. See how nice that was, Bobo?
Yep, I see that.
I'm doing very well. I had a pretty, boring weekend, but well-rested and ready to go again. How was your weekend, Bobo?
That's similar.
Similar? Just nothing too spectacular?
No, nothing too spectacular.
See, we're teaching them people skills.
I've never seen a young man be so good at learning small talk. Just that quick, Bobo becomes a human being. Well, he was calling up to tell us that Lady Di had been mugged. Of course, Lady Di on Friday received a whole bunch of money from us. It was like $360, $70. I don't know. It was close to $400. And she was mugged. She had the money stolen from her. So we got Lady Di on the phone to talk about it.
What were you doing at Crown Chicken that would have made someone think that maybe you were an easy target? Were you counting your money at the table that you made, or?
No. Maybe when I took out the money to pay for the chicken, maybe they saw the rest of it.
What'd you take out? Like a couple of hundreds?
They saw the rest of it when I took the money out. Maybe they overlooked.
Were you flashing some hundies? Were you flashing some hundreds?
No, I wasn't flashing anything.
How much did you guys give her? I wasn't here.
It turned out to be almost $400, I think. $400 cash on Friday, not counting all the money we gave during the week.
You know what, guys, please. If you don't listen to me, all right, I'm not going to finish the story.
You're right. You know what? You know what?
You fucking piece of shit.
Right, she's right.
With your fucking bullshit details.
What do you mean you're not going to finish the story? We're trying to help you.
You're right, Di. We apologize for our rude interruptions and our crass talk.
So somebody might have seen you pulling out a lot of money to pay for your meal at Crown Chicken.
It could be, but I don't think I pulled out all that money.
All right, so nothing else.
I think I pulled the whole thing out, huh?
Nothing else at Crown Chicken that would have been suspicious.
I don't know. I mean, let's put it this way: if I wasn't there, somebody else would have been the target.
Well, that's usually the case, yes.
Obviously, was waiting for somebody to open up a pocketbook, and it happened to be me.
Okay, so then you leave Crown Chicken. Now walk us through this.
Now, I left Crown Chicken, okay, and I was walking towards the liquor store. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I was going to get a 30-pack, all right? And, no, I didn't even make the liquor store. The guy mugged me already. And then I called the cops and everything.
Wait, no, you don't just stop it. He mugged me. You go through the detail of the menu at Crown Chicken, but then you go, he mugged me, and I called the cops? Walk us through the mugging, you fuck.
It is so hard. You want to, and you go in with the best intentions. All you want to do is feel sympathy for Di. She goes through this thing that many people would call traumatic. And you want to be like, oh, I feel so bad. We ended things on such a positive note last week. But once you start talking to her, it is impossible to feel sympathy for her. As a matter of fact, we got Bill on the phone. And all throughout the week of Lady Di's internship last week, Bill was kind of looked at as a villain, almost abusive. But we find out from Bill that not only was Lady Di, when she went out and got mugged, Bill says she was intoxicated at the time and jumped behind the wheel of his truck. She was just boozed up. She jumped behind the wheel and then she got mugged. He also got in. That's what Bill said. And he also got into Lady Di's past and what happened to the money that her deceased father had left for her. Let's get to that. Let's go to track 7.
It's not going to cost $300 for 1 week of getting.
Yeah, it doesn't cost that much to go back and forth from Elizabeth to New York.
I think she was fibbing you because she wanted to stop and have a few belts.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think it's
called alcohol. Okay?
Yeah, right.
You drink in New York, it's paying $8, $9, $10 a beer.
Exactly.
Okay, and she was drinking the 22-ounce Friday pints instead of these 16-ounce, and you drink 4 or 5 of them, you got to be halfway shit-faced.
Bill, we're starting to think she has a drinking problem.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out.
Well, actually, I met her like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Where'd you meet her? The TB ward?
So you meet her 7 years ago?
Yeah, she was homeless. Took her off the street.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We remember that.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, okay. I'm not lying on it. Whatever.
Oh, yeah. No, I know.
I got a good job.
Yeah.
Making a couple $1,000 a week. You know, and she lived with me and my buddy Jeff. We had a room. I lost my house. Boy, I ain't talking about that.
All right.
So, I used to get her, a 12-pack a day, and that was cool. And she was all right. But when she got her father's money, okay?
Yeah.
She was drinking 36 cans of beer a day.
Holy shit.
36 cans
Now
of
we're getting
beer
to the
a
bottom
day.
of this.
Yeah.
Bill, there's no way she was drinking that many beers a day.
Want to make a bet?
No, I
bet she was.
Bet you kiss.
I'm just saying it in a way like I can't believe it, but I guess it's got to be true.
It is.
I believe it.
30 to 36 cans a day?
If you start at 8, 9 in the morning.
Wow.
Probably very easy to.
No, that's late.
That's late, huh?
7, 6.
6, 7 in the morning.
I'm surprised Bill didn't take Jim up on his bet. I don't know. Maybe he didn't hear it. Should have made that more clear. That is so much alcohol for a person to intake. It's no wonder she's in the condition that she's in. I think that we are going to get through today's show without a Lady Di update. I'm hoping. I think we've heard enough of her story for the time being, but it's just like every time you hear from her, it's more sort of not taking care of yourself stuff. Let's go to some calls. Marion.
Hi, Sam.
Lady Di's best friend. I'm good, Marion. How are you?
I'm okay, but Diana did get mugged. She called me Saturday night, I guess after this happened, maybe now. I don't really know exactly what time. All I know is I was home. She calls me about 9:30, 9:45, tells me she got mugged. And I said to her, where?
Yeah.
Because she's always home at that time at night, right? And I'm like, Diana, where? She told me where she went. And I said, what the hell?
Yeah,
are
I mean,
you
the
doing
question is,
over-
number one, what's she doing at... I'm
Sam,
sorry.
I said, what,
Didn't mean to
I know
interrupt the
that
Marion
area.
show.
I know the area very good.
Oh,
And
well, then
I
I
said,
don't
what
need to
the
ask
hell
questions.
are you doing over on that area
Right.
on South Broad Street at 9:30, whatever, 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night?
Marion's got it under
She says, I was going to Crown
got it.
Chicken. I says, Diana, you got Burger King closer to your house. What were you going to Crown Chicken for? She said, I was
Amazing
going to the liquor
conversations
store,
to
and
go
then I
on.
was going to Crown Chicken. I'm like, here we go again with the, right, to see it.
Because Marion, it's like, is somebody going to get mugged at a Burger King? I don't think so. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, she lives closer to Burger King, so if
Oh.
she wanted chicken, she should have went to Burger King instead of going away to Crown Chicken.
Because they call it Burger King, but it's not like they're not going to serve a chicken tender.
No, they do have chicken there.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just telling, and I was hollering at her because I felt kind of bad.
Because it's not like all they have is a Whopper. They have a chicken sandwich, and you can get it without mayo if that's your preference.
But first, when she called me Crown Chicken, I said, "Oh shit, she's by the liquor store."
That's
'Cause I
it.
know exactly. And let me tell you something. Nobody goes over there.
Because let me
That
tell you, Marion, it's like, yeah, Burger King, you can have it your way, but they're not going to give you a bottle of booze, are they?
Exactly. You know, but I'm like, what the hell? It's 9:30 at night, Diana. What are you doing out, walking around? I thought she was walking. Because then she changed. Then she told me she was driving.
Oh.
And then I said to her, "What are you doing?" And now
Right.
she has to go get her license back. She
Sure.
has to go get her ID back.
Yeah,
you
and
know
it's
what,
like,
Sam,
yeah,
the money that you guys gave her last week, she had a lot of it left on Friday.
yeah, well,
It all got taken on Saturday.
and that's what you get for not visiting the king, isn't it?
Well, you know what? That's what you
You
get
got those
for wanting
crowns
more
and
beer.
everything.
I talked to Bill yesterday.
All
Bill
right.
told me they had beer in the refrigerator Saturday. I said, if she had beer, what the hell is she doing for more beer?
That's the question, and we will get to the bottom of that on today's Opie and Anthony show. We won't, I promise. We won't even talk about it. We got a lot to get to. Nick Cannon is in trouble for wearing whiteface. Everybody's very upset with him. Jeff Dunham in studio. Malaysian Air update. And some guy is walking around in a clown suit. all over Staten Island, creeping out Sal's family. We'll get to all of that when the Opie and Anthony show begins, which is right now.